Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is BC, and today we are back at it again with the SpongeBob Conspiracy Theories by Cinian Plays, Part 3. I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to join the BC Army, and comment down what video or what video game video I should do next. I also said in my last video I have a capture card, so hopefully I will be making video game videos very soon. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Gary is not a snail. He is an intellectual creature with an unlimited amount of knowledge, trapped in the wrong dimension. You may think Gary is just SpongeBob's pet snail, but you may be very, very wrong. What if I told you Gary is trying to escape Bikini Bottom to arrive home to his fourth dimensional world with a population of geniuses where he is the king of royalty? What? This theory will fundamentally indoctrinate the truth about Gary and his intelligence. This is the Gary theory.
Part 1, is there an alien among us?
Gary Wilson Jr. is a pet of Spongebob Square Pants who secretly carries an extinctive amount of knowledge that seems unreal. Unlike the other snails found in Bikini Bottom, Gary is completely different in the way he acts. Would it be possible that Gary is not from planet Earth and is an alien? Maybe. Well, there is a ton of evidence supporting that fact. There are a lot of moments in the TV show where we see references to aliens. In the episode Sandy's Rocket, SpongeBob and Patrick assume that Bikini Bottom is a different planet and go alien hunting. When Patrick tries to talk to Gary, SpongeBob tells him that the aliens are projecting their memories onto the environment and immediately shoot Gary.
Hey look, it's Gary!
Don't go near him, Patrick. Can't you see this is all a trick? The aliens are projecting our memories onto the environment.
Despite the rest of Bikini Bottom being normal citizens, it seems like Gary is indeed an alien since he was the first target. It's also very strange that Sandy would carry a puff gun for harvesting moon rocks since NASA used shovels. Sandy must be lying and carried the puff gun to eliminate Gary. She probably knew that Gary is not from here and is using SpongeBob to get to Gary. And if that's not enough evidence to convince you, then I have something for you. In the episode I Was a Teenage Gary, Squidward was in charge of pet-sitting Gary for a 3-day weekend when SpongeBob and Patrick went to a jellyfishing convention. Gary became sick, and when SpongeBob called the Dr. Fish, he came to give SpongeBob a snail plasma syringe but refused to inject it into Gary.
Here you go.
Aren't you gonna do it?
Oh, no. I'm too squeamish.
Veterinarians are responsible for giving shots to animals, and for this doctor not doing his job and instead making SpongeBob give the shots is strange.
Well, that kind
when
of makes
SpongeBob
sense.
accidentally got injected by the snail plasma, he started to transform into an actual snail.
See?
Why would you even tell that?
I believe the Dr. Fish knew what the shot does and wanted to protect himself from becoming a snail. I feel like something is up with the Dr. Fish. He has multiple identities in the TV show. Sometimes he's purple, sometimes he's orange, sometimes he's purple with orange arms, sometimes he's a pirate, and he looks strikingly similar to Dr. Manowar from the Jellyfish Convention.
And now it only hurts when you touch it.
What's the reason behind the multiple identities? What is this man hiding? What if I told you that this doctor is planning to turn the whole Bikini Bottom population into snails? Think about it. He gave a dangerous syringe that can transform any fish into a snail. Maybe Gary and the Dr. Fish are in cahoots with one another to turn the Bikini Bottom race into a bunch of snails. Although we don't know why, it does make sense. In the 1969 Apollo 11 moon mission, Neil Armstrong, along with all the other astronauts, were required to spend 14 days in quarantine in case of a moon plague. If you didn't know, NASA is very protective when it comes to quarantine since they believe that many different planets contain wide ranges of viruses and bacteria which could infect the living organisms on Earth. In Season 5, episode Fungus Among Us, the whole Bikini Bottom became infected due to a pile of algae found in SpongeBob's home. Snails are known to leave trails of slime and barf randomly. I believe this algae belongs to Gary and is an alien disease that contaminated the whole city. At the end of the episode, Gary solved the infection by eating it without getting sick or anything.
Well, it is a
And
bit
if
weird.
Gary was the only thing that never got infected, it must mean that he is immune to the ick. Not to mention Gary looks nothing like a snail. Well, at least from the inside. In many episodes we are shown the insides of Gary's shell, and every time it looked completely different. One time Gary had a blue inside, another time he had a brain looking inside. He even had a butt underneath his shell. Why does Gary look different all the time? Well, it's obvious. Gary is a space alien that has superhuman transformational powers, allowing him to change himself.
I actually kind of agree with that, because if you were a normal snail, you would have the same thing under your shell. Maybe not really the same, but the build would be the same. But like, it could be big, it could be small, but like, it would still have to be normal. Like, you know? Like, you can have many different forms of your backside. Like, first he has a rear end, or first he has a gluteus maximus, then he has a brain-like thing, and then he has nothing. That is not normal. Because you look at the animal anatomy, it's basically the same. Basically. But when it comes to Gary, he's had multiple forms. That's not normal. Like it could, like for example, a horse or a cow. Yeah, you have the same backside, but it's different. Colors are different, but the form is the same. Or like, or another thing, like you think like another thing instead of a backside, you think of an animal. You look at an animal. It has the same body parts but different colors. You don't see a snake with feet or a snake with arms. No, you don't. Slithering around. Or like you don't see a monkey or a gorilla with a fin. No, it's basically the same but different colors and sizes. That makes no sense. So he's not an ordinary snail. He is far more intelligent and looks different every time. Like, what the heck? But that actually makes sense that Gary could actually be an alien. But let's continue on to see.
In the episode Help Wanted, Gary had really tiny orange pupils, whereas in the newer episodes he has black pupils and orange irises. In Sleepy Time, Gary says that in dreams one is not tempered by earthly limitations.
In dreams, one is not tethered by earthly limitations.
Maybe this is Gary referring himself to as a non-earthly being. I looked really deep and found an episode that may bring life to my point. In the episode Pets or Pests, SpongeBob brings home an ugly-looking alien worm that seems to hate Gary.
They could be rivals.
I think that this is an alien from a different planet than Gary's, which could be the reason behind the feud. So now we know that Gary is an alien. Let's talk about his extraordinary intelligence. Gary is famous for his random bursts of intelligence. In the episode Sleepy Time, he surprised all SpongeBob fans with his gifted personality. SpongeBob visited Gary's dream cloud, and in it we see a huge library full of books. SpongeBob surprisingly finds Gary talking.
In dreams, one is not tethered by earthly limitations.
But that also is the same outfit that futuristic dolphin was wearing, now that I think about it. So maybe he works for them, or not works for them, maybe he's with a part of that association, with the club of the very intelligent sea life, as we saw with the dolphin. And the SpongeBob movie where is it SpongeBob out of water? I think that's the new one. I don't remember. But you saw that dolphin in the video. That's a part of one of the movies.
How the heck did Gary know the true definition of dreams? It's truly impossible to know something that you never learned. Let's hypothetically say I ask you to draw a picture of God, something you were never exposed to, or if I ask you to explain a blind person what the color blue is. It would be impossible since you need to experience something before you understand it.
Exactly.
Gary has shown us that he is a master of poetry, but Gary doesn't know how to read. He's a snail, right? Holy shit. In the episode Rockabye Bivalve, Gary is seen reading the Bikini Bottom news.
And he's a snail.
This proves that Gary is smarter than every other pet in Bikini Bottom. If you really think Gary is just a regular snail, take a look at this. In the episode Jellyfish Hunter, the blue jellyfish cut out the electricity and SpongeBob said something very insane.
I guess Gary forgot to pay the electric bill.
I guess Gary forgot to pay the electric bill. Very interesting. And that's not the only time we hear something like this. In the episode Chocolate with Nuts, SpongeBob is waiting for the mail, and every single piece of mail is for Gary, which proves that he pays for the bills.
Let's see. Gary. Hey, a magazine!
But where does he even get the money?
King Gary Part 3.
Back in the episode Rule of Dumb, we see a family tree full of royal ancestors and descendants.
I've discovered this coffee stain, which, upon removal, reveals that Sir Gary is the true heir to the king's crown.
Gary is seen in the family tree with fish parents, which makes no sense at all. But then why is Gary even seen in this tree when he has no business there? What if Gary is an imposter that hired the starfish to put him on the tree? Here's what I think happened. Gary couldn't eat because SpongeBob barely makes money to put bread on the table. So Gary hired the starfish to add his name to the family tree so that he could become the king of Bikini Bottom. Then both SpongeBob and him could survive from tax money paid by citizens of Bikini Bottom. You might be thinking King Neptune is the king, but just remember that King Neptune is the god of the whole sea. The type of government that Bikini Bottom has is a monarchy, which is ran by kings and queens. Bikini Bottom must be a kingdom run by Gary, but the overall sea is ran by King Neptune. In the Sponge Out of Water movie, SpongeBob and Plankton were asking Gary to team up with them, and they found him running a kingdom of snails to seize them.
What do you mean, king of snails?
This proves that Gary is the monarch of Bikini Bottom.
Part 4, Stuck.
If Gary is an alien, where did he come from? Remember that poetry line that Gary said in Sleepy Time?
In dreams, one is not tethered by earthly limitations.
I think this refers for Gary hoping for a day his dream comes true, which would be to return to his fourth dimensional world. Notice the cloak Gary is wearing in the episode. It bears a striking resemblance with the cloak that Bubbles is wearing. Bubbles is a dolphin who appeared in the second SpongeBob movie and is in charge of watching Jupiter and Saturn to keep them from colliding. Bubbles went to go take a bathroom break and gave SpongeBob and Plankton the responsibility of watching the two planets without telling them what to do. I believe that Gary is from space and is working against Bubbles to collide the two planets together. He also had the power to control space and time. We even see an aggressive-looking Gary constellation in The View. In the episode Gary Takes a Bath, we see him teleporting in thin air, just like Bubbles. After SpongeBob got Bubbles fired, he returned to thank him for getting fired and gave them all magical powers to breathe out of water.
What's happening? I feel tingly.
That would be something cool to have.
If you didn't know how SpongeBob and Plankton reached the fourth dimensional world, it was a glitch in the time machine.
Well, technically you can breathe underwater with an oxygen tank. But also, that's talking about us. But when it comes to SpongeBob, you can't breathe above land. But wait a minute. When it was a SpongeBob episode where Sandy challenged Patrick, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and SpongeBob to see if they could survive above water. Well, they did, but they were attacked by birds. But also, they weren't themselves. They were just items on a metal pole. But in Sponge Out of Water, you see them in like this 3D form, but they're breathing above water as themselves instead of props. So I find that very interesting. But it would also be nice, it would be nice to have for us humans to breathe underwater, but it's not possible. But also, when you think of Mermaid Man, he has a starfish for a nose that helps him breathe. But see, when it comes to Barnacle Boy, the reason he's able to breathe underwater because he has a bunch of barnacles in him. But how come in one of the episodes, Barnacle Boy uses those barnacles as an attack mechanism? So what happens if he has no more barnacles? Will he not be able to breathe underwater? But also, Mermaid Man was given a magical starfish to breathe. So I don't really know.
That brought them to the wrong place. And here's what I think happened. Gary wanted to transport to a different dimension using a time machine. The time machine glitched accidentally, sending him into Bikini Bottom. He constantly has dreams to reach the dimension where he was respected. This is similar to the time machine concept covered in my SB129 theory where Squidward died during a malfunction. The creator sneaked a bit of proof of Bubbles being a god in a very clever way. In one of the episodes, there was a painting in the background of Patrick pointing at a dolphin that looks very familiar. Could it be Bubbles? I mean, it looks almost identical to Bubbles, referring to Michelangelo's painting, The Creation of Adam. It makes a lot of sense that Bubbles is a god and Patrick is Adam. But I think I'm forgetting something. What was it? The dolphin is part of the Illuminati. His chain has a logo which theoretically proves that Gary is an extraterrestrial alien god that is part of the Illuminati. And that is the Gary theory. We recently hit 9K subscribers, which means we're very close to 10K. Honestly, I can't thank you guys enough with all the support. If you guys keep subscribing, we might even get a YouTube play button, which would be very sweet. This theory took a while to make, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. We finally revealed the truth of who Gary is. One day, Gary's dream of reaching his home planet will finally come true, but we'll wait for that to happen. With that being said, please check out my other amazing theories where I uncover the meaning behind a character and an episode. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to never miss another theory. The TV show Spongebob Square Pants is not what you think it is. This seemingly virtuous city, Bikini Bottom, is an analogy of something insidious. The 7 deadly sins. This show covers 7 main characters that carry the worst sins in history, and behind it all is a mastermind that keeps it a secret. Today I will reveal the truth about this malicious cartoon.
Sorry guys that you see me looking down. I actually got a text from somebody. Okay, anyway, the text I sent was sent. So anyway, let's get back to it.
Trust me when I tell you, I think this is my most convincing theory yet. This is the 7 deadly sins theory.
Interesting.
SpongeBob has been my all-time favorite TV show ever since I started watching it. I always remember coming home from school to just kick back, relax, and watch SpongeBob Square Pants on cable TV. Those keeps it a secret. Today I will reveal the truth about this malicious cartoon. Trust me when I tell you, I think this is my most convincing theory yet. This is the 7 deadly sins theory. SpongeBob has been my all-time favorite TV show ever since I started watching it. I always remember coming home from school to just kick back, relax, and watch SpongeBob Square Pants on cable TV. Those were the days. The TV show sticks out for the comedy and deep meaning. SpongeBob SquarePants has been famous for the dark and evil conspiracy theories, and after all your support, I decided to make another awesome theory. Today, I'll talk about the 7 deadly sins that are actually alive in Bikini Bottom, and how each of the main characters in SpongeBob SquarePants are infested with each of these sins, and I'm willing to prove it. You might be asking me, what are the 7 deadly sins? Let me explain. The 7 deadly sins are a list of 7 sins that are perceived as immoral behaviors that are based off of Christian tradition. The 7 deadly sins consist of sloth, greed, envy, pride, lust, gluttony, and wrath. These sins are outright sinister, and believe it or not, but Steven Hillenburg must have deliberately assigned each of the main characters to make the TV show more interesting and secretly dark.
Really?
Spongebob Square Pants is the first ever TV show in history to ever portray these sins and attach them to each of the main characters, which includes SpongeBob, Plankton, Gary, Squidward, Patrick, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, and more. Nickelodeon is indirectly supporting this theory by making each of the characters' personalities revolve around these sins, meaning that these 7 characters are literally the sins.
Act 1, the characters.
Let's begin with SpongeBob. He is assigned with lust. The definition of lust is a strong desire of love or sexual desire. SpongeBob is a character that loves everything in Bikini Bottom, from the Krabby Patty found in the Krusty Krabs to the neighbors. He loves his job to the absolute extreme and cares about all living things in Bikini Bottom. He even loves people that hate him, like Squidward. No matter how much Squidward hates SpongeBob, he does not understand Squidward's hate and fights back with love. I understand that God wants peace on Earth, but the lengths that SpongeBob takes to show his love are off the charts.
Especially you, Squidward.
In the episode Dying for a Pie, SpongeBob literally gets so excited to see Squidward that he follows him on the window.
It's a bit,
In
that's
the
a bit
episode
creepy,
20,000
but accurate.
Patties Under the Sea, he says bye to Squidward twice, and when Patrick questions him, he straight up says, "I like Squidward."
Bye, Squidward. Bye, Mr. Krabs. Bye, Squidward.
You said bye Squidward twice.
I like Squidward.
For some strange reason, my gut tells me that SpongeBob is sexual, but the childhood part of me doesn't want to admit it.
Oh, that! Oh!
Gary! I was just looking for the sports channel, Gary.
The whole reason SpongeBob moved into the pineapple was so he could live with Squidward.
That's technically true.
It's beautiful. I'll take it.
I'm sure you're creeped out by now, and I am as well. His love for everything is so bad that his brain is under a psychological force which causes a strong desire to love everything this planet has to offer. Although SpongeBob is not likely sexual at all, I would like to mention that there is one character that very accurately illustrates lust, and that is Pearl. I have a fun question for you. What's the deal with Pearl's extreme love for men? Pearl is Mr. Krabs' whale daughter who attends high school in Bikini Bottom. She's the age of about 16, which is a common age to fall in love. But I believe that Pearl is a bit too sexual for her age. In the episode Bossy Boots, Pearl offers to help her dad with the restaurant and wants to rename the Krusty Krab. She advised to rename it to the Kissy Krabs with a very strange kissing act.
The new name for our new look. I mean, the Krusty Krab has got to go.
How about the chaotic crab?
How about the Kissy Krab?
She goes beyond the line and shows us how much lust she has
Well, that's
for
the
boys
first
who
thing
cry
she
in the
said, so
episode
that's
Whale of a
weird.
Birthday.
All about you.
It's all about you, girl. On your 16th birthday, you get your very own spotlight tonight. Cause it's all about you. Yeah, it's all about her. Squidward mentioned that they charge $1 million just to show up, and for some reason Pearl doesn't seem to care about the cost.
Boys Who Cry, they're my favorite band. They charge $1 million just to show up. If you want them to lip sync, it'll run into real money.
She is so deranged that she had dreams of them. I believe that this dream was much more deep than what Nickelodeon is showing us to make it more desirable for children. Sandy. She is assigned with pride. The definition of pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements. The achievements of those with one whom is closely associated or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. Sandy is a character who thinks she's better than everyone in Bikini Bottom. In the episode Pressure, she kept arguing with the Krusty crew, saying that land critters are much better than sea critters.
That land critters are better than sea critters.
She says land creatures are best.
We're best at horse riding and fur styling and rowing.
She keeps showing off her inventions to people around the town. She also has a very high level of self-esteem, which means to value yourself above normal level. She has glory on her inventions and feel like she doesn't need anybody. To make matters intense, the episode Texas shows us a lot about who Sandy is as a person. In this episode, Sandy misses Texas and feels homesick. Sandy brags about being from Texas so much that when Patrick and SpongeBob said Texas is dumb, it triggered Sandy as if she cannot take any criticism.
What did you say?
Texas is dumb?
Don't you dare take the name of Texas in vain! No! You can't say nothing about Texas!
She also tries to relate everything with Texas.
Back in Texas, we call ice cream frozen cow juice. Excuse me for a sec.
I wouldn't be surprised if SpongeBob found a cure to cancer and Sandy says the cure of cancer was already created in Texas. Sandy always wants to be perfect in every possible way. She cannot accept failure in life since she wants to prove herself as the best creature in Bikini Bottom. In addition, I would like to add Squilliam Fancy Son. Squilliam's role in the TV show is to brag his wealth and status to his rival from high school band class, Squidward Q Tentacles.
Hello. Squilliam Fancy Son from band class?
He constantly tries to publicly humiliate Squidward for his economical status. In the episode House Fancy, he literally broadcasts a house tour on TV to show Squidward what he's all about.
Hello and welcome one and all to a super special episode of House Fancy.
In the end of Band Geeks, he passes out for seeing his enemy win.
As they play Sweet Victory.
Squilliam can't stand Squidward taking his perfectionism spot. He seems more pride-hungry than Sandy Cheeks. Patrick. Patrick is considered a nothing professional, which shows us all that he is assigned to sloth. The definition of sloth is reluctance to work or make an effort. Patrick is the laziest character in Spongebob Square Pants. He does nothing but sleep under a rock.
Basically.
He eats all the time. And his house is made out of sand, which proves us that no dedication was made whatsoever.
No,
he doesn't work nor have any responsibilities in life. He's so lazy that in the episode Big Pink Loser, he got an award for doing nothing more than anybody else.
For doing absolutely nothing longer than anyone else? Patrick! This trophy's for you!
No, in Bikini Bottom, excellence can be found even under a rock.
He doesn't earn anything and uses SpongeBob for all his food and money. He can't even make the littlest efforts in life, like making breakfast. Squidward. Squidward is a character that is heavily affected by sadness and hate towards everything and everyone except him and his clarinet. He prefers isolation over anything else that a normal person prefers. Squidward is known for having anger over little things like laughter and working at the Krusty Krab. His anger is so intense that his head heats up when SpongeBob shows up.
Squidward, you're steaming. You're like a steamed vegetable, only smarter.
If that's not surprising, Squidward even sang a song saying, "I hate people, people hate me."
I hate people, people hate me. I prefer my own best company.
Squidward is assigned to Rat. The definition of Rat is extreme anger. Gary. Gary is assigned to gluttony. The definition of gluttony is habitual greed or excess in eating. Gary is the hungriest pet in Bikini Bottom. He constantly demands SpongeBob for food. He can eat a mountain load of snail food in half a second. You might be thinking Patrick is hungry, but Gary tops Patrick's position since SpongeBob always uses food to reel in Gary. In one of the episode treats, SpongeBob brought a treat for Gary called snail bites, which Gary is hooked onto them and is ready to perform any task just to have this treat. Maybe snail bites contain drugs, which is perfect to define Gary as gluttony. When SpongeBob ran out of snail bites, Gary kept meowing for the rest of the episode. He was selfish enough to make SpongeBob travel around the whole world just to find them. Gary is known for his overeating and always after food and nothing else. Gary even dumped SpongeBob for the cookie in Patrick's pocket, which is the biggest backstab in the show.
It's what Gary wants, and what Gary wants is me. Right, Gary?
No, Patrick. He wanted the cookie in your pocket.
You know who else stands for gluttony? Mrs. Puff. Mrs. Puff is known to eat more than an average fish. She's a puffer fish, which are well known for their gigantic size. In the episode Prank-A-Lot, she's seen eating a double dark deep sea diet cake.
Double dark deep sea light diet cake? Oh, you will soon be mine.
Notice the part diet? Yes. Mrs. Puff is dieting. Maybe because of her obesity. I mean, she literally ate an apple in one whole bite.
Give her the apple.
Here you go, ma'am.
Seems like she's abusing the art of eating. Pufferfish are also known as higher competitive predators, which could mean that she could be eating fish in Bikini Bottom. And what if I told you that Mrs. Puff's relationship with Mr. Krabs is an excuse to eat him? In the episode Pharaoh Friends, Neptune's moon de-evolves the whole city, causing all creatures to be primitive fishes.
SpongeBob? Patrick?
We are shown that Mrs. Puff was eating Mr. Krabs, which could mean that she is using Mr. Krabs for food.
Unaware he is being stalked by his natural predator, the pufferfish.
Oh, no, you don't.
Plankton. Plankton is assigned to envy. The definition of envy is desire to have quality possession or other desirable attributes belonging to someone else. Plankton is full of jealousy and can't bear to see Mr.
Well,
Krabs'
he
success.
does want
He is the owner of a failing restaurant
Mr.
called the
Krabs
Chum Bucket and is willing to take any chance that he gets to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula so he can instantly retrieve all of Krabs' success. Plankton is extremely obsessed with having power and rule the world, which belongs to everyone. Instead of making his own recipe, he wants to acquire the hard work of others. I mean, the guy literally ruined a friendship just because of jealousy. This obsession of power has destroyed him from inside and permanently changed his mindset. Last but not least, Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs is assigned to greed. The definition of greed is intense or selfish desire for something, especially wealth, power, or food. Mr. Krabs is the owner of a multi-million-dollar restaurant that generates millions of dollars a year. He is the greediest man in Bikini Bottom and wants to acquire all the wealth available. Selfish enough to empty his mom's wallet when she collapses.
Oh, dear mother. What have these foul-mouthed heathens done to you?
He has nightmares of losing money and can't stop thinking about money. He underpays both of his employees and would sell out a loved one for a quick buck.
He'd sell your soul for a couple of bucks. If you had to choose between SpongeBob and all the money I have in my pocket, which would you take? 62 cents. I'll take the money.
This Krabs always shows up for free stuff. He keeps collecting money and never gets satisfied with all of his earnings. I mean, there's a limit on making money, and this money-hungry greed is destroying Mr. Krabs. He's the type of person to reach the party late without a gift and leave the party after the food. This greed runs inside his blood and is taking full control. And if you guys thought that was dark, boy, I have something for you. This is where I originally planned to end the theory, but I found something that is very, very convincing. This is where the dark part of the theory begins.
Act 2, the mastermind.
So now we know that these main characters possess the 7 deadly sins. There is still one question that comes across my mind. Who brought the 7 deadly sins to Bikini Bottom and why? Well, it's quite simple. Who seems like the most evil spirit in Bikini Bottom? Who is miserable and unable to live his life? The Flying Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman is very evil. I mean, when he appears, everybody gets scared shitless. He steals people's souls and threatens to lock up anyone who upsets him in Davy Jones' locker.
And I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm going to steal your soul. I'm here to escort you to the resting place of all bad undersea folk. Davy Jones' locker.
I think he trades physical items for the souls of bikini bottom fishes. If that doesn't convince you, then what explains the soul bag he carries around? Did you know that the Flying Dutchman is the underwater version of the devil? I mean, just like the Flying Dutchman, the devil also takes people's soul, which means that he purposely assigned these evil sins to the main characters. But why? What is the reason behind it? Do you really want to know? He is trying to destroy King Neptune's underwater world so that he could take King Neptune's throne. King Neptune is the god of the sea that has magical powers,
that sort of makes sense because, yeah, the devil likes to take souls, but also there was a story that the devil used to actually be one of God's angels, and God casted him out of heaven, which is because the devil will try to take over the world. At least that's how the story goes that I remember. I don't really know quite honestly, because like there's many stories that I've heard. Many things. I think my brain is overloaded with so much, but the devil takes souls, and so does the Flying Dutchman. And the 7 deadly sins. Deadly sins. Sin, as in the devil. So that kind of makes sense.
And kids, and also a handsome physique. Neptune is living his best life in a Greek mansion. On the other hand, the Flying Dutchman is an old grumpy man who died thousands of years ago and lives alone on a dirty old pirate ship. In the episode Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, SpongeBob told Patrick a story about the origin of the Flying Dutchman. He said that he haunts the 7 seas because he was never put to rest.
It says when he died, they used his body as a window display. Now he haunts the 7 seas because he was never put to rest.
It's understandable that the Flying Dutchman would envy the success of King Neptune and command the Bikini Bottom main characters to destroy the beautiful things in life. This theory proves that the main characters of Spongebob Square Pants corresponds to the 7 deadly sins. The Flying Dutchman is responsible for the 7 deadly sins, and that Nickelodeon is secretly hiding the sinister message in the show. The case is closed. And that's the 7 deadly sins theory. I can't believe how evil Bikini Bottom really is. I just think this TV show is outright crazy. Who would have thought the Flying Dutchman was secretly behind the sinister found in Bikini Bottom? Anyways, that was a fun and thrilling theory. We recently hit 8,000 subscribers, and I wanted to thank you all for the support. If you guys keep subscribing, we might even get the YouTube play button, which would be really sweet. There are more theories on the way, so I highly recommend to stay tuned. With that being said, please check out my other amazing theories where I uncover the meaning behind a character and an episode. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to never miss another theory.
Well, anyway,
today is the day one of the weirdest mysteries of the TV show will be answered. Is SpongeBob really a...
I'm sorry guys, but this has to conclude my reaction video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and like I said at the beginning, please don't forget to like and subscribe to join the BC Army, and comment down below what video I should make or what video game video I should make. And also don't forget to hit the bell icon so you will be the first to know when I upload a video. Anyway, this is BC signing off.